I'll find a way. If it's anything like our lunches, Gabby.
Yeah.
The only time we're
True.
quiet is when the food comes out.
Yeah. And even then we're still talking.
Yeah, I miss that. I definitely miss. Oh God,
Oh,
it's actually funny because we had John Course last week and then you this week. I'll need Tom
oh,
Evans next week because that'll just be the lunch.
dumpling crew.
The dumpling crew. Yeah, miss Hanoi Hannah as
Oh,
well.
oh, I missed it all. The Chinese shop.
Is
The
anything
shit.
open down there?
The
Like takeaway?
ghetto. Oh, not everything's shut in Prahran on Monday except just essential services, and then Windsor wasn't much open the other day, just food. But
Yeah,
I think it's mostly the trade's mostly from Wednesday to Sunday. I just think
yeah.
they've all given up Monday and Tuesday.
Just
Most people are
weekends.
staying inside around here. They haven't been out. Like,
Yeah,
it's dead. I've seen 3 cars from my house, where I am, up to
yeah.
the Epworth Hospital the other day. It was 3 cars the whole way. It was 3:30 in the afternoon.
Oh wow, that's just insane. Oh, it's not what we're
It's
used
good.
to
It
at
took
all.
me only 4 minutes to get there, but
That's all right. We've only got to wait till November.
I know. Sheesh.
It's good to see a
Sheesh.
few new people in here today, James and everyone. Just chuck yourselves on mute. Thanks for joining, by the way, but just chuck yourselves on mute to the very end when you do want to ask a question or something like that. Otherwise, we're just going to have heaps of different noise going through. Thanks for joining, guys. Thanks heaps for joining us, Gabby.
It's
Obviously,
okay. Thanks for having me.
on here right now knows you and knows what you do, but did you want to maybe explain? You've got a few different roles. Explain what you do. So if anyone new is listening in, they get a picture painted.
Well, obviously we do. But my brother and I have Global PR Pool, and that's nearly 19 years old. So we do service to radio, DJs, and also DSPs. We like to think that we're the best in the market on this side of the world, and we obviously look after some big brands like Defected and Tool Room and CR2, along with Hot Sunday and Vicious and Ministry of Sound here and Sony and lots of other big labels, but also lots of small labels and also lots of independent people that just come to us to get their records out.
Yeah,
And I
beautiful.
also co-manage Sunshine and the Disco Faith Choir. I've been doing that for now, coming into the 3rd year. So, and that
Wow, and
started
she's a mum now,
more.
right?
Yeah, Sonny's had a baby now.
You're probably wrapped when Rainbow Serpent wasn't going ahead anymore, because wasn't that the week of her pregnancy? And she's like, I don't care, I'm still playing.
She's just about to drop it. I'm like, we have to find a plan out of there. But yeah, no, she got through as she always does. So it's been interesting. That kind of started with something small at the time, and she came to me and asked if I could help, and I really believed in the project, and obviously I've been friends with her for some time. So it kind of made sense to help out. And then I got my brother and Michael Parisi, who's one of the big artist managers here in Melbourne, to get involved. So we could take it from pretty much from the Dance Floor Revolver to big festivals like Wine Machine and our own hard ticket events, selling, over 500 tickets. Each event sold out. And then eventually Melbourne Music Week. So we got in front of a lot of people over that period. So that's been a passion little project for me on the side. And yeah, it's just a shame everything's kind of come to a standstill. The choir's still singing.
You guys seem like you're busier than ever, or like, I think maybe the first couple of weeks, everyone was shell shocked by the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
But you've been as busy as ever on Global PR. There's heaps of releases still coming out.
There's plenty of stuff coming. And look, the key to all this, as much as I fucking hate it myself, the whole lockdown thing, everything turned to shit for everybody. There's so many more things you can do. And over this time, you've got to remember, we will come out of it over the next couple of months, but you need to work out your positioning when you do come out of this. Will they remember you? You've been really active in the space the entire time that things have been shut, Chris.
Yeah.
You haven't balked it. Well, and Defected's another good example, and Tool Room and some of those old, overseas older brands. The release schedule's gotten bigger, not smaller. It's like,
yeah.
But things are being done just a little bit different. So, we understand that we're trying to, increase the length of each record kind of to clubs open. So sometimes you'll see us push out a remix every 2 or 3 weeks. and this may go on for 9 months. In the case of Endor, it was nine months.
I
Right.
feel like Defected always do that anyway.
Yeah, but
We'll
I
probably
think
get
more
a,
than ever, it's like it's
yeah,
more like a blueprint for the moment, because that way gives you a chance to get more streaming and a little bit more of you know, actually at the moment there's better opportunities at radio than there has been before. So we've had a lot of things added at
yeah,
radio, at Triple J, at Nova, at SCA. So those opportunities are bigger at the moment, and I'm not quite sure why. Perhaps the records are just really good, but also people are, you know, they're not in their cars, so maybe the radio stations are just trying a few things different. So for when people do go back in the car, which is
yeah,
promising.
definitely.
So yeah.
That's one thing I pushed for a lot of the people releasing on Hot Sundays, to keep releasing records and just use the time to
Oh,
make more records, so that when things do go back, you've got more records than ever, but you're still keeping kind of relevant. And actually, it's funny that you said that you'd say, like, kind of saving some remixes for when things get back.
yeah,
We've got like some awesome remixes for Beth Yen's tune,
yeah,
and I'm like, these are really clubby. So I think, like, once things go back, we can drop them
yeah.
with that original again, and it just breathes a whole new life into the release.
I mean, look, we've dropped, you know, you saw this week, there was a really underground record from Colombo, and also from Junior Jack. We're still promoting records like that because these guys are going to be touring again soon. So, you know, you don't want to forget about it, and you need to just keep on churning just a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, you
Yeah,
have to spend $1 million a month on getting your promos out, but you just got to do it nice and clever to remain relevant, try and get the pecking order, and keep, you know, Beatport charts are still people buying records, right? You know, track
yeah,
sources the
definitely.
same. There's people buying records. So, you know, from what I heard the other week, the sales are up like massively. And for us, we're doing more streams at the moment for Defected and those big brands than we have when clubs were open. So
Yeah,
it's a win-win. And going out of this, we'll have more contact with more radio to get more opportunities for other records that we're working on, which is
yeah. I
a
guess
very,
people
very
aren't
good
at home.
thing.
People are at home on a Friday or Saturday night rather in the club, so
Yeah.
they're listening to the records, having a
You
drink at
know,
home or
and
something like that,
and
maybe.
the live stream's been, you know, of course his live stream's been life-saving. The Poof Doof one's been great. I've really enjoyed the whole series that Defected did, and they actually had, you know, anywhere up to 15 million people watching the stream. So you can only imagine how many clicks we were getting on the other side. You know,
Yeah,
people looking for the record, shazamming it, and then on Spotify, the numbers were large. So it's all these new skills that everyone's kind of had to adapt to. I guess adapting is the best way to say it. I think it's going to be
yeah,
good coming out of this. I'm
yeah,
not.
definitely.
I know there's going to be a rush on everyone wanting to get their promos out on the same week.
So what's your, actually, that's funny. Like, what do you think's going to happen? Because
Yeah.
Defected and Torum, like, we've been doing a concert stream.
Vicious are back on their regular drops.
So what about the labels that have been maybe holding on to those big key tracks? Like, did you have any labels send you anything to promo before this happened, before it all was expected, and
Yeah.
they've kind of pulled it back and they said, no, we're just going to hold on to this?
Yeah, heaps.
Oh, wow. So do you think it's just going to be a ton of tunes coming out?
Yes. And I
Oh,
sometimes sit there thinking, oh shit, it'll be scary. That first week is going to be fucking scary. But, you know, at least, you know, with us, we don't promote everything that people send us, as you know. So we're quite selective with what we take, because I don't want anyone spending money if we can't really get a result. You know,
yeah.
maybe the artist isn't ready right now to do a full promo for, but some organic growth is always good in the background, letting people discover it. And
That's
then,
brings me to, like, my first actual kind of question that I
yeah,
think would be super helpful for the crew, because basically with Hot Sunday, like, we've got a range of different producers. Some of them, they might be releasing their first
yeah,
record. Some of them, like Beth, who might be
yeah,
up to her like fifth or sixth record
yeah,
just on Hot Sunday.
yeah,
And yeah, you know, I've got Disco Fiasco as well, and someone might
yeah.
put like a track in there, and everyone wants it to be on, you know, Global PR, and everyone wants to go full crazy with the promo, but I've got to kind of have that conversation and explain to an
Yeah.
artist that the release might not recoup, you know, the amount of money you're kind of wanting to spend. So what point would an artist kind of think, in your opinion, that they want to go ahead and do this promo, and that they're kind of ready for this?
Depends what the end game is and what your plan is with the artist. If you've signed the, you know, 8 records with an artist and you're trying to build up profile and branding and also positioning and just getting the artist out there, well, then you might start at the second or third one. You know, quite often I'll come to you and I'll say, nah, not yet. We'll wait till you know, I've said that to you many times, because
Yeah,
money's precious, and maybe that next record will be much bigger, and then you can save the money from that one to put a little bit into an overseas promo as well, you know, like something like that. And, you know, I've suggested to you and others like Jolien to use PR companies in the UK, and you've seen charts, especially for Jolien, you know, and even in the in the Music Week chart, not even in the Cool Cuts chart. So yeah, it's yeah, it all depends on the artist. And like I said, if there's a big game plan with it, sometimes we look at the streaming figures, sometimes we look at overseas labels interested in it. But you know, the first record might be, your friends might tell you it's awesome, right? But it's actually just okay. And you know, there's no point. You need to listen to a bit of criticism from people like yourself or from me, and just wait till the next one, or maybe a couple of remixes might be the difference between it moving and not moving.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point that I do put to my artists. It's like, well, does it have a big vocal? Is it something that's going to get a lot of streams?
Yeah.
And will there be remixes? Like, if the track's kind of like, there's not often that I promo a track that isn't a release that has a big vocal and that we've got remixes. Like, we've got the remixes dropping tomorrow for Feel the Sun, and it kind of just makes sense to have maybe a variety of styles. You know, like you might have a disco mix, you might have a club mix. So I think that's important to get. If you're promoting to like your database, how many DJs have you got on the GlobalPrPool database?
There's over 800.
Yeah, so they're all obviously different styles, right?
Yeah, we have a different, you know, different pools for each kind of genre. And then I, you know, I'm obviously not going to send a Dua Lipa record to the hardcore techno guys unless there's a Yoris Vaughan mix or something. But, you know, things like that. We also, certain times of the year for like Mardi Gras and things, it all just depends. So we do have a variety of DJs. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, beautiful. And the sense, what would be your opinion on artists looking for management? Like, it's probably, I mean, I dropped management when this all happened. I don't know if I'll be picking it up until, there's probably a lot less for a manager to do right now.
Yeah, well, there is, because there's not much touring, unless you're looking for overseas deals, which you've probably got a handle on, or you can hire a lawyer to help you do that. I mean, look, the manager's good because they're talking to people all the time. That's the thing that you don't realise. You know, when we go to ADE and things like that, the manager's out there hustling for you, doing what they do, and then you meet up at the end of the day and there's so many opportunities that you didn't have before. Those kinds of things, that's real. But I don't think, you know, if you're 17 now, with clubs not open, you need a manager when you turn 18 kind of thing. I think you might, you know, the label manager can be a sort of manager too, like yourself, without being
like
a manager.
An A&R.
Yeah.
Yeah, advice and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
If you just watch all of our YouTube videos in succession and the vicious ones, you won't need a manager.
Well, this is it, isn't it?
You'll be more prepared anyway.
I mean, a lot of people come to me, a lot of people come to me, oh, can you manage me? Can you manage me? It's like, firstly, I really don't have time. As you said before, it's so busy. You know, I took on the Sunshine thing because it was something different to just DJing. And it was a concept thing for me. I feel that there's something on the other side that I like to explore, you know, that's not just the same old. I've managed lots of people before, done tour managing and all that shit. So, but I think the A&R manager is just as important as the manager in helping you get your structure right. It's only, you know, when you make it really big like Dom Dollar, right?
Yeah.
You need someone counting the coins. But if you just work in those few kind of medium-sized gigs on the weekend at $100 an hour, I think you probably don't want to be spending any money on a manager.
Yeah. So for you, it's kind of like you need that connection to the project where it's just like something that's super exciting and it's really interesting. And like, obviously you've done Sunshine for a very long time as well.
Yeah, but I've been doing this for 35 years now, so I was looking for something different to do on the side.
Cool.
You know, like I've managed a few other artists back in the early 00s and DJs, and well, it's good and everything. This was something different for me, and I really wanted to dive into something that was a bit more diverse.
Yeah, I definitely know that when I was with Audio Packs, which I'm still on good terms with and all that sort of stuff, it just kind of like ended with all this. But I'd call Q for probably 2 hours a day. So I think I got my money out of them. I don't know if it worked out for them very well, but it's super, super time consuming.
Yeah, it is. It's time consuming, but you know, for people like my mate Michael Parisi, that manages a lot of big artists like Vera Blue and Dan Sultan and those kind of guys, Now that's real proper management at that point, because you're dealing with way different things in just our sector.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so where do you see the disco faith choir going when everything hits back? Do you see that as mainly an Australian thing, or do you think that could be an international?
No, we've had some international interest with it actually, but you got to understand the logistics of touring.
Yeah. How many people are in there?
13. So we've managed to shorten it at times. We've had to do some bits and pieces, and Sonny's working on a couple of records at the moment that should be ready in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then we'll be releasing those over this period as well, because we'll be looking to move out of this with gigs. So, of course, we want to be releasing records in the next couple of months.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I think that's good advice. We've got
super important at the moment to be back on the top.
Yeah, a few people kind of like understandably went a bit quiet, but I think now is the time to get back in and start doing stuff. If you don't jump in now and get active, you're going to really, I don't know, it's not going to be very beneficial. I know a lot of people actually just have deleted Facebook and social media as well. Like I'm barely on Facebook anymore. So I'm finding like Instagram is like the way to connect with people.
I don't
know if that's going to change or what.
It's been a bit toxic on Facebook because of the political experts. That's why everyone's just gone snooze. I mean, I've been trying not to look at it much myself. That's why I've been a bit quiet, because it's just, there's some nutcases out there. They're fucking nuts.
So how do you guys kind of like, are you just playing it week by week, or have you got like a kind of like schedule and you know what you've got coming up, or are you just kind of, have the sort of expectations that the labels know because things are still closed and you just
expectations are obviously different to normal at the moment for every sector, I'd say. But we have schedules out to the end of the year. So there's some people locking in jobs in December, some putting in for November. I mean, we're quite careful of the balance. I don't want to have 10 promos out in one day, and there might be weeks where it's really cluttered, and I'll suggest to you, and I have done so in the past, to say, why don't we wait the week after, because there's a big Calvin Harris record this week and there's a few other bits and pieces from Defected or whatever. The next week would be better for you, Chris, because, you know, there's less releases and just a little gap. Sometimes it's good. Your timing is everything sometimes.
Yeah.
There's no point surging just to hurry up and do things. I think sometimes you need to plan. And that's why I make you fill in the Google form, you put the suggested date in, because I'll move that around as possible where I can, where it's going to benefit for you.
Yeah, 100%. Have there been any like particular big records that labels are sort of are waiting on that you're like, I can't wait to get this one out? Like just monsters?
Yes. Someone sent me some stuff the other day and I'm like frothing. Oh, fuck. Can you just give me a date? And they're like, oh, no, not yet. And I'm like, why would you tease me?
Why would you say that?
Why would you do that to me? But I guess, it's good to be involved in the early process of getting excited. That's part of the fun.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess a lot of people that have come to Hot Sunday as well, we've been focusing a bit more on like, I guess the more radio friendly stuff and pushing the club stuff back to when the club's open. Do you have any idea of like, I guess the most relevant sound recently has been maybe in the clubs more tech house. Do you think that's going to say like that Endor pump it up kind of sound? Do you think it'll kind of just continue on that path, or do you think things will change and it'll reset?
Well, if you look what's going on in Perth and Darwin at the moment, they're still pumping it up, literally. I think coming out of the lockout in Melbourne and Sydney will be a lot of house and disco. I think the disco might be bigger than you think over the summer. And you can see there's a lot more releases and stuff, and they're getting more sophisticated, and there's some really good shit out there, as well as the stuff you're doing on Disco Fiasco as well.
Yeah.
So there's starting to become an appetite for that. And the house music is going to get bigger. Tech house, like I said, you're going to have some kind of non-restrictions to enjoy that kind of music, really.
Yeah.
And that's just all part of the makeup of it. I feel that it could be the slowest part to come back at the end of the chain, I think.
Yeah, you need to be able to really party till 5, 6 a.m.
Yeah, it's like 4 a.m. shit. You can't do that when you're dancing in your chair.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to dance in a chair, to be honest. That sounds amazing right now.
Yeah, I'll have a chair.
Does anyone want to ask any questions at this point? If you want to just throw something in the chat, you can, or you can shut yourself off mute. Anyone out there at all? What would you kind of top tips at the moment be for any artists that are just sort of wanting to do a bit more, but kind of like are just sitting on the fence, can't really decide, or don't have the motivation to do much?
Well, you like me are always there if anyone wants to ring, have a piece of advice or a little chat. Um, I think it's really important to, finish what you start. I get so many people come to me with records that are almost finished, and I think, oh, God, if they just spend another couple of days on that, it'd be a fucking weapon. And I think that comes back to your work ethic. So you've got time at the moment. So anytime we put up parts for things like the Roger Sanchez release is a good example. I can see young Tonky on there. He got his
Yeah,
little break. I mean, that's going to be something he can spring himself off for some time now. Those parts we offer to everybody to enter the competition. Latrick and Chloe Wilson at the moment, which is number one, we'll draw those winners. We had some really good entries, especially from girls. So that's
oh,
one thing
awesome.
I've noticed over the lockdown. I'm starting to get remixes from women that are really good. And I'm happy about that because I'm like, oh, everyone like they're having a go now, which is great. So that's what I
Oh,
see
that's
happening.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the whole reset of everything will be give the whole equality and
Oh, I'm
a
starting.
better chance when things go back.
Yeah, well, seems to be more interest in the remixing thing since the pandemic started, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, that's amazing. What was the idea behind doing all those? Because that's quite new, isn't it? That's in the last 12 months that the remix.
Oh, the STEM
Uh,
service was really just to keep, and we are doing it before, and obviously it was good. I wanted to see if we could find some young talent that hadn't been exposed. Often the labels are too scared to engage with someone they don't really know because, they want to get paid or they want it on
yeah,
spec. And it's just that, you know what it's like, that whole. So with the parts, it was more like trying to expose people and get people to practice their skills. Whether they wanted to submit the remixes to me or not, that was another thing. They might have just wanted to practice for some time with the parts. And, everyone is at their own pace. Starting to see some of them that took parts a year ago come really good now. So
yeah, amazing.
practice makes perfect. And like I said, I'm noticing more women picking up the parts, and it's good, which means they're getting right into the production.
That's amazing. What's coming up for next for the stems?
I've got the Sunny one. I was waiting on a couple of records over from Central Station, but I think they're going to wait till the next period or the next month to get things out, so it's closer to club dates. They're
Remind me.
clubby. They're really clubby records.
I've got one for stems. I always forget to email it to you. Remind me to do that after this. I've got one
Yeah.
when the final track on our album, and it's got this massive vocal, and I think it would be really
Which
good
one?
for. I haven't sent it to you yet. You haven't even
Oh
heard
God.
it. So we've got a question from Mitch.
Yeah.
What was the moment you realized that this is what you wanted to do? Like, yeah, you've been doing it forever, forever, right? Were you just bored?
Okay. So what happened was I'd finished and I was doing my HSC, and I was spending a lot of money at the record shop. And then my mother saw this ad in the paper and she said, oh, this could be a really good job for you. And it was just ever intended to be a part-time job. And then within a few months I was managing that shop, and then I got an offer to work for Colossal Records, which was one of the biggest distributors in the 90s. So I had a lot of records. We started the label, Betty Boone, all that kind of shit. It was Italian house era, Flying Records, Media Records, all that kind of Italian cheese. And then I just, I thought about this when the pandemic started. I thought, fuck, I'd be screwed now. I've known nothing else. I've been doing this since I was 17. It was like 35 years
I
ago.
was the same. I was ready to like study something else and become a doctor. And I'm like, I'd be a terrible doctor.
So, I used to just love people buying music, Mitch, I guess, making people happy. I play that male stripper record in the shop for 100 times and sell like 200 copies out of the box. That's how passionate I was back then. That's when I knew.
Yeah. When I was asking you the other day,
Yeah.
all like the things under your title, what did you say? I'm just trying to look for it in our chat. Wasn't it like CD packing or something?
Yeah. Yeah, well, back in those days, I'd have to go to the shop, get the order, come back to the warehouse, we had a couple of really big records at O Fortuna, which sampled the Karloff, the opera thing, which we got
Yeah.
sued for, but we won the only country in the world to win the court case. But that was
Oh,
stressful.
wow.
But so I'd go out all day, and even sometimes I'd drive back from Sydney because I had to swap cars over in the offices, and they would make me sit there packing CDs until midnight. So it was, well, you know, we had so many orders, and you know, you're just a small distributor. When I started there was 4 people. When I left, it was 25 working at the back, you know, like
Oh, wow.
a lot.
So, and when you first kickstarted Global, were you sending records or CDs as promos?
Oh no,
Obviously,
records.
records. Yeah,
Oh
right.
yeah, I've got the hands to prove that. All the cuts, all
So,
of
like,
them.
suggestively, the promo process for a record label back then would have been so much more expensive than now.
Yeah, because it's the vinyl pressing, um, mailers, and the postage. Mind you, the postage wasn't as much as now, but you know, it was probably nearly $10 a record to mail.
Oh, because
So, you know, in
you
saying
have to
all this, when
protect the
everything
record.
CDs came after that, and that was a little bit easier on everyone because that was cheap. But when we had to change the digital, it was such a fucking hassle to get the labels to understand what a digital promo was. And they were, you know, I used to get comments, oh, but, you know, it'll be everywhere. And I'm like, well, a CD can be uploaded to the internet and be everywhere as well. Like, they just didn't get it. The legals, the amount of legals we had to do to get signed off, but we were the first to send out a record digitally here.
Wow,
So
that's
it's,
amazing.
yeah, so it's good.
Yeah, it is the best platform, Global, jumping on and downloading records from there. 100% the website and the way it all works.
I just
Even
want
now,
to
when there are other digital ones, it's yeah, the easiest,
cleaner.
that's for sure. Yeah.
It's just that you look at the other one, it's just clear. To me, it feels like a lot of clutter. And I get a bit
Yeah.
anxious when I see a big menu in a shop. So it's the same kind of thing.
We always go to the same restaurants.
I know.
James Tobin's got a question. What's your advice for those who might be sitting on a couple of cool records but are too nervous, scared to approach some labels with it? Hashtag asking for a friend.
Hashtag, darling, why don't you just call me? And I'll help you. Or message me tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. I think we kind of touched on that question as well the other week, and it's exactly what you're doing, James, which is getting involved with like the community on our Facebook group,
Yeah.
and just like you're in our group chat, you're on this chat right now, and it's just connecting with people. I reckon that's the best way to. Yeah, it's kind of like approaching people without approaching them. If you're already someone's friend, then it's so much easier to ask them to listen to a demo rather than just a cold email to a
Look,
record
quite
label you
often,
don't know.
if it's something suitable and someone says to you, can you send it to Defected, or can you send it to Glitterbox or Tool Room or CR2, or suggest someone here in Australia, I always happy to suggest someone and give you good advice why I suggest that reason too. So
Karina's got a good question as well. How do you see the future of the music industry post-pandemic, and your thoughts on the social distancing festivals?
oh,
Everyone gets a cubicle.
listen, I look at Perth and there's no social distancing. I look at Northern Territory and there's none, and I think it's just going to take a little bit longer for us, and it'll be back to that point.
Why is that? Is that because it's hotter? Some people have been like, it's because it's hotter. Is it just because there's less people travel there? Like, we've got more uni students here probably, right? Or something like that.
No, there's less people in general there. There's 6
Yeah.
million here.
They're already social distancing.
Yeah, so to speak.
Although, when I was in Darwin, definitely nobody was.
No,
Nightclub, I think I was in, that was shocking.
I watched footage of Will Sparks on the weekend, and there was zero social distancing. It
Oh,
looked like
wow.
it was going off.
He's Melbourne based. Would he have to isolate if he comes back then? Or what? How? Oh, God, must probably.
No, I think he lives in Queensland now.
Oh,
So
Melbourne bounce travels abroad.
Brisbane bounce.
Tiff Cornish, have you heard more unique sounds during this period than normal? Or have you been sent more a weirder variety of stuff to promo?
No, not really, except your record, Tiff.
For me, even just talking about different styles of music, I'm like, what could be different at the moment? There's just so much music that's already been done. It's something that I constantly think about. Like, you always think about what could be next, or, like dubstep came out, trap came out, all these different styles came out. And I'm like, is everything kind of done? Like, I don't know.
I just think good house music will prevail. I think the disco is going to get much, much, much more popular. Tech house will just slowly change, maybe a little bit tougher. You're finding a lot of those EDM guys are moving to that sound, so the purists will move on. Techno will be big once the right places can reopen again. I don't think that's going to change. It'll pretty much pick up where things left off, because there's records kind of in limbo at the moment, waiting for clubs to reopen.
Yeah, I kind of like, I mean, I've always liked tech house. I pretty much play tech house. And
Yeah,
I thought when it kind of like came up and then I would drop off, but it was a fad, and I'd say it's probably not a fad anymore, but it's still huge. Like
it's
it's
massive.
what do you think? Like, what do you reckon there'll be any style of music that will be the next kind of fad? Like, is it techno? Do you think maybe?
Well, it was going to be techno, as you know. We've seen the progress in Amsterdam
Yeah,
over the years, but I don't know how that leaves. I mean, you've got clubs like Burgay and that's still not opened, and Berlin, they're trying to do some outdoor raves. The government is funding now, so I don't know. We'll see. I still think the techno's big because it's the only bit of the underground left. So
yeah. Berghain is anything but social distancing, as far as I've heard
no,
as
that
well.
will. Do you know my friend checked in there on the weekend, and I was so jealous to begin with, right? And I'm like, can't believe he's there. And then another message was that it was freezing, so they must have half their clothes off, as you do. And of course, the social distancing, so they're all freezing their balls off, literally.
I've not been. I've got to check it out. We always end up going to Amsterdam, and I don't go anywhere else. But I should have
I
done it.
wonder why.
Yeah, that's one thing that we've got to miss out on this year is Amsterdam dance events. I
Yeah,
guess.
this week I would have been doing my appointments,
Yeah.
meetings. It's really
To give people an example, how many meetings do you go through in what, like 5 days? Is it 4 or 5 days?
4 days. Plus, I work a couple of days beforehand because I like to, and I also have a lot of after meeting dinners and lunches. Like actually, when I took my girlfriend when did I take her? The year before.
Yeah, last year.
She thought it was one kind of big party, and she would see how early I get up to work on Australian time, sending everything out, this and that, and then go out all day to meetings, back in. Sometimes I come running in, sweating, I come back out again, then come home, barely put my clothes down, have a shower, go out, dinner with someone, out again, sleep for a couple of hours, repeat. Right?
It's terrible, guys. It sucks.
It sucks.
No, no.
She would be like,
it's
I just thought you were having fun, but you're not. You're actually working. I'm like, yeah. So it's
no,
hard, but it's good.
it's good. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I can't wait to eventually go back. But it is kind of draining. I know the flight back. It's very different from the flight there.
The flight back is like torture.
Yeah. So what do you reckon with all those music conferences and stuff? That's probably going to be a couple of years away before we get back to them.
The Dutch don't know social distancing at the best of times. I think it'll be back next year. They are doing
Wow.
a small version. So I think if you're local, you can
Oh,
go
yeah.
to the actual event, and it's a sit down kind of showcase they're going to have on their streaming service. But I think it'll be back next year. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. Interesting.
Um,
And because I don't watch the news, but you're telling me that Venue's got the okay to be back in November in Australia, right?
it's on the roadmap to nowhere. At least you know what date the venues is supposed to open.
Yeah.
I think if things keep going the way they are, they might move all those dates forward yet. We don't know.
Yeah. I'm surprised we haven't seen any big Melbourne underground raves because I know that even in Brisbane, I've seen them pop up and people getting fined and they're allowed to even go out and we're not. But we've been, I mean,
Because we
the
can't go
music
further.
community is good.
You can't go further than 5 kilometres, so you're going to get pinged
Yeah.
before you get to the rave. I think that's the bad part of it.
Tips said, do you think there'll be any underground parties over summer? I reckon there will be. Just
in the early
with
new
your 5
year.
best friends.
Maybe.
I was speaking to Jared Marston today, and he's like, they're not going to want to do Christmas and New Year's because Christmas you're going to see your entire family, and then New Year's you're going to see 50 other friends. They're just going to want to cancel New Year's and Christmas, aren't they? I hope not, but that makes sense.
Look, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't think you're going to see any massive parties, but underground things can be done, in small, dark rooms.
Yeah.
Probably go back to that a little bit.
All right. Anything exciting for us coming up that we can keep our eyes on the next couple of weeks on Global? Give us any teasers.
Look out for a lot of MK records. So,
Oh, nice.
so artists like MK are going to be releasing a record every week or something for 9 weeks. Something.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of producers that have got banked up product ready to go. I've got a long lead of mixes for the Love Regenerator. So that's just the first package you got last week. There's several to come. There's a couple of big things coming on Defected as well.
Yeah. I think that's good as well. Like any artists that are wondering what to do right now, just take a look at what the bigger artists are doing, and if they're releasing tunes and they're going for it, then you should be doing that as well, I reckon.
Well, you've got to just keep on pressing. I just think if you don't keep pressing, you're going to lose your space. That's all. And you got to do it smart. You don't want to be spending millions of dollars either, but you still want to be getting really decent results considering the circumstances. Like I said, all expectations are a little bit different at the moment, but sometimes that's good for me when the pressure's off a little bit and I can get really good results at radio because they're not hammering me like every 5 minutes sometimes.
That's one thing people probably don't realize as well, is like you have to be online quite late at night or in weird hours just to communicate with people in other countries. I do the same thing.
I'm up, like we start at 8:30 in the morning and I don't sometimes finish until, as you can hear, I've got no voice because last night on the phone. So it's like, it could be 11 o'clock till I can speak to somebody over there.
Yeah.
And then I'm chasing parts because the next day something hasn't arrived yet and I'm shitting myself that it won't go out because it's got to go out at a certain time, some things. And that's another reason why I'll be up late.
Yeah.
Pressing the refresh button.
I know I've got to get up at 6 a.m. pretty much every second week on Thursday morning, and that's so we can communicate with LA and Ibiza.
Yeah.
It's the only time you can get everyone in one room
at the same time.
Which is not fun, but you got to do it.
Yeah.
Tonki's asking, do you think live streams will be huge moving out of COVID? I reckon John courses will still be going forever.
Yeah, no, I think there's
and the bathtub ones.
I think there's going to be a place for live streams moving forward because a lot of people, you've realised there's a whole new audience that doesn't come and see you every week, Tonki, right? And like John's realised that there's a lot of people that used to go and see him. They don't go out anymore. They like to have that experience at home on the weekend. There's some weekends where I'm absolutely knackered, but I think, geez, I wouldn't mind knowing what's going on down the road, right?
Yeah.
But, and now it's kind of good. I hope 161 keep it up as well because I was really enjoying theirs. Poof Doof ones have been fantastic streams because that's catering for a really diverse market of people. So Tonki, keep doing them, Dale. Yeah, everyone knows the tub. Everyone talks to me about the tub boy.
Don't Google tub girl.
Don't do it. No, you won't do that.
Amazing. Awesome. Thanks heaps for your time. Has anyone got any more questions?
Christian, you can just pop my email address into the group if anyone has any questions that wants to message me or add me on Facebook or something.
100%. Absolutely.
Happy to help out.
Gabby loves a phone call as well. So if you need a little bit of advice or a point in the right direction.
Love a phone call.
Yeah, same with myself as well. Like if anyone has any records they want help with, if they, need any advice, just jump in the group as well. You can ask away into the Facebook group, whatever you need.
No worries. James, message me.
I'm signing that record though.
Give it to Christian.
Oh, awesome. We've got one.
Oh, good. All right. Well, thanks for having me. Like I said, if anyone needs any help, we're happy to help out anytime, any place.
Beautiful. No worries. Thanks heaps. All right. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks a lot, guys. See ya. Bye.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Cheers. See you guys. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Make sure you do hit subscribe and turn the notifications on so you're going to get notified every time we upload a video. We're doing a minimum of 2 a week, sometimes 3, covering all bases in the industry from mental health, production tips, interviewing, DJs. We're going to go deep, covering all bases, get you all the information you need. Hopefully some of it is useful and there's not too much of me talking shit.